Next machine we're going to talk about a bench grinder or a pedestal grinder. It's the same thing, just a different term. This one that I'm taking the picture of right now is in the machine shop, and there are also grinders in the welding shop grinding room. They all work the same basic stuff. Let's go over it, okay? Everybody, obviously safety glasses are a must when you're using these things. The other big thing would not be to wear gloves. If you get gloves caught in here, it's bad news. One of the worst accidents I've ever had with any of my students, many years ago, I had a kid grinding some really small stuff that was too small to hold securely. That was his first mistake. Second mistake, he's wearing gloves doing it. The little piece and the glove is a bad mix, because what happens is his fingers got really close. The gloves hit the grinder right here. They caught and jerked his hands in there. And even with the gloves on, when he pulled his hand out, all three of these fingers were just mangled and ground like you can't believe, right down to the bone. Literally, the glove was gone, and we had blood and bone and flesh. Very bad. The kid ended up having several plastic surgeries and Great Falls over this. Probably the worst accident I've had in my career. It was his own fault. He got what you deserve when you do something stupid like that. So we don't use gloves. We don't get our fingers near it with small pieces, okay? All right, this grinder, if it's not turned on, so I'm gonna touch it with my finger, it's gonna run down, okay? So it's gonna force your metal down. So just like on the belt sander that I showed you a few minutes ago, everybody, you always have your metal resting on this table. You can move it across there gently and evenly, so you're not wearing out one spot on the grinding wheel, but rather you're wearing it evenly. The other thing we would never do is we would never grind on the side of the wheel, either on the inside or outside. What'll happen is you're gonna wear a groove in this wheel, and then eventually it's gonna get weak and it's gonna shatter. So anytime you have a chunk missing out of a grinding wheel, a bad groove, not good at all, very dangerous, could explode and kill you. Okay, the whole idea of never sanding metal that is thin on its face applies here again. If you sand something right here and it goes down between the wheel and the table, it's going to pull your fingers in, and it's just a mess after that. You're going to get severely injured. Okay, the pressure that you push on these grinding wheels, it's again slow, nice and gentle, even pressure. It's going to be safe. You're going to be good. Okay. You guys, I don't like to use a grinder with these shields down like this because I can't see very well. I don't like it. So I prefer to have the shield up. Of course, I've got safety glasses on. A lot of people like to wear a face shield and safety glasses, which is totally fine. But at a bare minimum, we would wear our safety glasses. Okay, last thing I'm going to show you on these grinders. You guys, after people use them for a while, the face right here will start to get some unevenness. It'll get some grooving in it. So we use this tool called a star dresser, and I'm gonna move over here and see if I can show this up close to you. That's a star dresser. See how it has these wheels that spin? These are made out of carbide. They're super tough and they spin. And how this works now is when I turn the grinder on, I take these two prongs, hopefully you can see that, I rest those on the table, and then I grab this with both hands, and then I gently bring it up to the grinding wheel, and I move it evenly like this, back and forth. And what it does is it knocks out the high spots, gets out the low spots, and evens up that grinding wheel to where we have a clean face. When you are doing this, if you were doing it for any prolonged period of time, unlike myself, I'm just going to do it for a couple of seconds for this video, but if you're doing it, you need to have some kind of face shield on and a respirator mask, because you don't want to be breathing this grinding dust, okay? I'm going to turn this on, let it get up to full speed. Okay, it's up to full speed, we're good. Okay, watch this. I set the two prongs of the star dresser on here. Again, the name of this is a star dresser. I put it here, okay? I hold with both hands. Notice my hands are away from it. I bring it up gently until it hits, and then I move it away, and basically what it's going to do is it's going to chop that space up and smooth it out. Back and forth. Notice I'm going back and forth gently. Okay, just like that. Then another thing we got to talk about is the gap between that wheel and this table. You do not want a big gap in there. Okay, I'm not going to stick my finger there in there. Obviously it's running, but that gap between the wheel and the table needs to stay about 1/8 of an inch. And you can adjust that. How you adjust that is with this screw over here. I'm going to grab the camera now. I'm going to zoom in on this. The gap I'm referring to is that gap between here and the wheel, okay? You loosen this arm right there. You loosen that screw. This whole unit will slide forward. So if you come up to the grinder and that gap right there is more than 1/8 of an inch, get your wrench out, loosen that, slide it forward, tighten it. If you have a big gap, you have a much stronger chance of something getting sucked down in there. Okay? All right, I'm going to set this down. And then I'm going to grab the test and I'm going to go over those questions with you. So bear with me. Okay, here we go. Let me see if there's anything I've not covered on here. I think we're pretty darn good. Number 9 says, what must be used to dress the grinding wheel? Again, the name of this is a star dresser. Okay. Why do I always want you to grind evenly across the wheel? So you wear it out evenly. Okay. What type of pressure? Light pressure. Always have the star dresser resting on the table when you do clean it up. Always have your metal resting on the table. Okay. Never would you grind up here because it's going to slam it down. Okay. If you can't get a good hold of it, don't grind it, plain and simple, okay? And I never want to see your fingers closer than 3 inches to that wheel, all right? If there is a gap between the wheel and the table, like I talked about, it shouldn't be more than 1/8 of an inch. If it is bigger, then loosen that up, slide it forward, lock it. As this wheel gets smaller, the gap's going to get bigger, and then we got to adjust the table, okay? The other big thing is this, you guys, in machining and welding too, you guys will start to use aluminum. You guys, you would never grind aluminum on a pedestal grinder because it's soft. It's really soft metal. And it will just plug these pores up in the grinding wheel. And once they get plugged up, it's toast. You can't really do much other than take a star dresser and grind it all up and to get rid of it. So never sand or grind aluminum on a grinding wheel. Never grind on the side of the disc, the wheel here or here. You'll wear a groove in it. It will explode. Very dangerous. Okay, I think we have covered this sufficiently on the grinding section. I'm going to close this video out, and then we have one more, which is going to be the wire wheel, and then all 3 of those machines will be on the same section of the test.